Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. With that, it's time to deep dive into our next session. As we had mentioned earlier, it's a keynote on developing a competitive edge by enabling smarter financial services. And we will actually be gathering insights from someone who has in-depth knowledge with respect to the Indian enterprise market, as well as trends across the country. So we're going to be gathering insights from Srinivaschary T, Senior Enterprise Technologist, Data Center Solutions, Dell Technologies. Here we go.
I'm Srinivaschary, I'm a Senior Enterprise Technologist, and I take this opportunity to talk to you about these advancements in technology for the next 10 or 15 minutes. And again, a warm welcome to all of you. As we have seen over the last couple of years, the whole life has changed for all of us, irrespective of the industry that we are in, correct? And how do I say that? Some verticals have seen exorbitant growth, while some verticals, maybe like tourism, have not been so fortunate. So there is unpredictable growth. And then, of course, there is thing that drives continued demand for innovation, to identify newer products, to identify optimization in operations, to ensure the customer connect is still wrong. However, while they are on the other hand, on one side, on the other hand, typically we are seeing CapEx budget constraints, and adoption of newer technologies has landed us into amazing, or even more amazing challenge on availability of resources to run and adapt these technologies. And then, of course, adoption of cloud, hosting the right application at the right cloud ensures optimal utilization of the CapEx and OpEx budget that typically are constrained. How do we choose that is something that, again, organizations are looking to solve, which goes on to say that the business and IT challenges still remain unprecedented and need to be worked upon, which is where we believe IT as a department needs to focus in driving its value to optimize and overcome these challenges and capitalize on the opportunities that are available. While I say that, banking and financial services sector is no different. It is seeing its own challenges over the period of a couple of years, especially. I have not gone to a bank in the last 2 years. Whatever banking I have done has happened either on mobile or on my laptop. Now, this is so far different than what we've been doing all these years. Let me go ahead and spend maybe a minute on each one of them, trying to explain some of the challenges that when I mean regulation and compliance, and how Dell Technologies as an organization envisages a solution that we can partner with you in ensuring that we are able to address these challenges, right? When I say regulatory and compliance, what is the first thing that comes to your mind? One, how as an organization do I handle or manage the data? One, how resilient is my operation specifically to an attack, to a data loss, etc. How resilient I am to a cyber attack. Today, the malware attacks they are getting a lot more concerted and a lot more well-defined. Gone are the earlier days where it used to be a simple attack, but today it is many attacks coming directly or from many fronts. It's not only happening at perimeter, but we are seeing attacks directly on the hardware layer as well. And hence, ability to handle these challenges becomes extremely critical. Technology innovation, how do I make, for example, how do I make my KYC much simpler and much more standardized? As an organization, as a bank, I do have multiple subsidiaries and I do have multiple products that one of my customers typically buys. How do I share my KYC across these subsidiaries? Is there a regulation that comes into play? Is there a methodology that I can evolve to ensure I do KYC once and the customer is happy for all the other products that I really have? How do I look into that? How do I adopt technology? So some of the ways that we believe regulation and compliance challenges can be met using technology and imperatives is how are we able to transform the applications, transform the way the applications are built to handle our customers today. If it becomes a lot more cloud native apps, rather than the standard monolithic, serving through a single server behind, but it becomes a lot more fluidic, a lot more containerized. Ability to run these applications at edge, my data center, or even cloud becomes public cloud becomes a lot more amenable, and trying to deliver an experience that that customer has really not unheard of. If I'm able to embrace multi-cloud infrastructure, ability to provide service used through an application that is run anywhere at any given point in time, and yet allows me to handle and manage all of these applications from a single command center. That is what makes it a cloud native application. Now, because these applications are hosted from a single data center or a single cloud, or even giving similar experience across multiple clouds, allows me to have a standardized compliance and security built in, thereby taking care of customers' apprehensions and organizational apprehension as well. The other challenge that I have always heard whenever I'm speaking to somebody in BFSI is around risk and security. I have spoken about this earlier in my previous slide as well. There is clearly attack that happens on the device. The devices are the first point of attack in typically any malintended adverse attack that we have seen. It could typically happen at the endpoints where your customers are using your applications on their endpoints. It could happen at a cloud where it is vulnerable to many public IPs, and then it can happen. We are aware of these as well, right? It can there could be intrusion over the networks, and then of course some more planned attacks that happen through the applications. We have recently seen one of the ways is trying to follow the NIST framework, which basically I also believe in saying that it is 100% impossible to protect, or 100% impossible to protect from a threat. The idea is there will be always a threat, there will always be an attack. It's how fast we can recover, how fast we can identify, how fast we can respond is the one that matters. And hence you need to have a pretty robust framework, which NIST predominantly provides. It's about identifying a threat, it's about protecting your organization from the threat, it's about detecting whenever there is an attack, and then how do I respond once I have detected it, and if I have been impacted, how soon can I recover from that threat. And Dell Technologies as an organization aligns very clearly in developing products which are cyber resilient, comply to the cyber resilient framework, whether it is my clients, which are desktop laptops, or it could be infrastructure products that go into the data center, which are server, storage, and networking gear. All of them have got an additional silicon root of trust present on them, which will authenticate and make sure that no unidentified attack or code actually runs on our servers. The third point that I really wanted to speak about is how technology today is driving customer experience. How as an organization, you will be able to adopt technology in order to ensure that your connect with the customer is a lot more personalized. It's a lot more affordable for our customer to actually talk to you or reach out to you, and simple to reach out to you, ability to address the questions and challenges. The kind of customers are also changing. How do I say this? My cousin, who's 18 years old now, has a completely different outlook on how we bank than what I have, than my 70-year-old father, who has a vision about banking. For him, personal connect, for him, face-to-face, for him, sitting across the table makes sense. For me, ability or simplifying processes, how can I go ahead and do this over the phone? How can I get my task done is something that I would be looking for. Whereas my cousin, he is a lot more tech savvy, and he is looking, really long-term investments, really long-term benefits. So, and he is getting in. There is no love for a certain bank. He is willing to change. He is willing to switch banks because The other bank may provide better service, better comfort, better approachability, and all the other 6 needs that I really spoke about. And he is willing to switch, whereas I will still think a couple of times before switching. So customer experience, especially for the younger generation, is something that is critical. How does Dell Technologies solve or help you in ensuring customer experience and technology imperatives are met? Now, this is all about identifying and connecting with your customers using newer technology, something like artificial intelligence and machine learning, which is basically analyzing, doing historical analysis, building a trend analysis, identifying what works better, and how you can position and personalize and get connected with your customer much sooner or much faster. Existence or presence at edge also makes more sense, because you're trying to solve, at the end of the day, you are trying to reach out to your customer, and it's not really the other way around. Now today we really want banks to reach out to our customers and keep them happy. So again, some of the solutions that we have got on board, specifically around Cloud Foundation or VxRail, I've got my own ready solutions specifically around artificial intelligence and machine learning. So it makes it extremely easy for organizations like yours to go ahead and adopt these technologies. And it's not only that, we've got a team of consultants who can take it up as an entire project, work with you, identify problems, go ahead and solve them using AI and machine learning. And the next one that I really wanted to talk about is taking care of your own internal customers. Basically, how I can make sure my internal workforce is pretty happy. We are seeing, specifically with pandemic that has hit us so badly, most of our customers today, or most of the operations that we really would go to work earlier, can actually be done at home. The remote working, the hybrid home office solutions is actually kicking in extremely strong. You don't necessarily need to be at office to execute a certain task. It can be done remotely, as long as the task gets done and it is effective. It doesn't really matter. And hence, technology plays a key role in ensuring that you're able to deliver these technologies to your users, so that one, again, the data is safe, it is extremely fast. The requirement is both, remote and on-site, so it is not just one or the other, it is both. You need to have a secure, resilient, and a responsive infrastructure, and of course, flexible, as I said, because it needs to eventually be focused on business outcomes. The way we look at it is ability and resurgence, again, of technology solutions like VDI that gives you supreme flexibility of working from anywhere. We also are seeing deployment of SD-WANs going really higher, specifically when the teams are a lot more distributed than ever before, which brings me to play of ability to have a solution like VMware Workspace ONE to handle all the applications, to publish all the applications. We have seen still a lot of banks, specifically even for their core banking, tend to use legacy technology, legacy IT. How do we go ahead and address those challenges to ensure that larger transactions per second are handled by them, and yet not compromising on reliability, availability, and serviceability features that the legacy tech used to provide? How do we ensure that we are able to deliver lasting flexibility, specifically with emergence of technologies like Edge, where your touch points with customers are no longer concentrated within the branch, but probably at your customer's home, at your customer's devices? How can we go ahead and optimize the experience for our customer over there? How do we do it from pivoting, doing it fast, to make sure that whatever we do it right, and then understand the human impact of new ways of working, which is where the age of cloud computing and platform economies is evolving more rapidly than ever before. Some of the solutions that I spoke about as well, right? How do you adopt these new technologies? How do we make it simple for you to adopt? We've got ready solutions that is basically, we have picked up the most commonly used, most widely used solutions, brought them together, stitched them together. So for example, accelerators, which are coming from NVIDIA, the libraries, etc., that again NVIDIA brings onto the table. Or if I'm doing data analytics, then how Cloudera actually brings in ability to handle this huge data, big data together. How do I do machine learning on big data? So my equation with my solution, ready solution with Cloudera also comes into play. Now, these are some of the ready solutions that we have for organizations who are willing to evaluate, build versus buy scenario. And we are good with both as technology providers. You can choose build, where I can come and help you with reference architectures and help you build a solution. And of course, I've got ready solutions with me so that you can buy them off the shelf and then hop along. So your time to value is much shorter. And what helps me do this, because I've got a pretty decent and strong Dell consulting services and Dell deployment services that allows you to handle these pretty much effectively. You know what, to sum it up, I really want to say that as any organization, as any industry, banking and financial services also is undergoing a huge transformation, huge digitization process. And organizations who will adopt this much sooner, much faster, will come out to be victorious, will come out with a huge gap between them and the person who is not actually following or not willing to change. With this, I really want to thank all of you who have attended this webinar, who have attended this session. Thank you so much and have a great day ahead. Thank you.
An interesting keynote there by Srinivaschary. Ladies and gentlemen, with that, it's also that time of the summit wherein we deep dive into our next panel discussion, and we'll find out from our speakers as to how neobanks are disrupting the financial services industry. So stay with us because we'll bring on board our speakers in just a couple of seconds. And so don't go anywhere, stay with us.